Let's talk about the big toe. So often in our shoes, they point our toes so that our big toe draws in toward our baby toes. I like these really wide shoes so that your big toe has plenty of space to move. If you walk around in shoes that draw your big toes in toward your baby toes for all day. The big toe has no room to move. We want to spread our toes in yoga as a way to energize our legs, as a way to stabilize our pelvis. Let's begin. So as you come to your mat, come to sit, come to sit with your feet forward. With your index finger and middle finger, thread the fingers to the base of the big toe on the right foot, and the webbing of your fingers should be right at the webbing of the toes. Wrap your fingers around the big toe, and just press the big toe into the wrapped fingers. So often the hand has a lot more strength than the toe, but press your toe into the fingers and release. And do that a few more times. Just energize the full leg by working the big toe. Press it forward as you pull the toe back with your fingers and release. And again, press the big toe forward as you pull your fingers back and release. And now draw your big toe away from your baby toes, just to pull it away from the toes and release. Because your shoes are pulling your big toe toward your little toes all day. So pull it away from those baby toes and release. And one more time, pull the big toe away from the other toes and release. And as you know, people have bunions and there's all sorts of nasty things and calluses that go on just because the big toe is so crunched up toward the other toes. Let's take the index finger and middle finger of the left hand, thread it through between the big toe and the second toe, and pull the webbing of the fingers right against the webbing of the toes and draw your toe away from your face. Draw it away as you pull the toe with your fingers and release. And I find so often that the fingers are so much stronger than the toes. So see if you can really work your big toe away as you pull the opposite action with your hand and release. And we'll do that one more time. Pull your big toe as you reach through the power of the big toe away and release. And now pull the big toe just to the side, away from the baby toes, and release it. If you have a strap, grab a strap. If you don't have a strap, then find something that will work just as well. Maybe a belt will work fine. So, working with your right foot, take a loop of the strap around your right big toe, right in that same area that we were working with our fingers. Straighten your right leg. Now, straighten your left leg and push the base of the toes right into the strap. So now your fingers were pulling your toe away from the baby toes. Now, through the strap, you're able to do that same action. The big toe is resisting, it's trying to move away, and you'll feel that engagement all the way up to the inner thigh. Now, relax it just for a moment. We'll turn it on and turn it off here. So turn it on again. Turn the power of the legs on as you press forward with the left base of the toes to press into the strap. The strap is pulling the big toe toward the midline of your seated stance here. And now just back off. Just take it easy. And one more time. Pull the strap with your hand as you reach the strap forward with the left foot, and you're pulling the right foot away and release. Now let's do the same on the opposite side. So take that loop right to the inside of the big toe and press the strap with the base of the right big toes. So you're holding onto the strap and pulling it in towards you. And as you push the strap with the right foot and you pull the left foot away. Good. And relax just for a moment so you can re-engage more powerfully as once again you do all those actions and your legs feel just really fired up. You're toning the inner thigh muscles, you're engaging the quads nicely. Release, and one more time in the same action. With you, as you pull with the hand, your feet are very active, pushing in opposite directions, and release. Very nice. Now you can release the strap and come to a standing position. So as you come to a standing position, now with a little bit of that toe work, now that your toes haven't been all bunched together in shoes, lift and spread your toes at the front of the mat. And as you spread your toes, just feel how much more spacious as you take the toes down, how much more spacious you feel your foundation is. From here, take your arms up, reach up and slightly back. Exhale with your knees bent. Place your hands alongside your ankles and step your right leg back. Bring your back knee to the earth. And with your hands on the mat, or your hands can be on blocks. And I just prefer blocks because it just allows me so much more length in these poses. So, with your back toenails pressing firmly, see if you can get a little plantar flexion in the foot. So, you're pressing your toenails down, you're lifting your back knee up. Now, if this does not feel good for your back knee, don't lift the knee up. Just press your toenails down and just kind of pulse with it. We'll do 3 of these here. You can get that feeling of lifting up, even if it's not so good for a cranky knee. You can just press your toenails down to lift up and release. So you feel this nice elongation all the way from the front of the leg. Now tuck your back toes under and reach through from your pelvis all the way to the heel. So you're really reaching your heel back for this one. Take your hands right on top of your knee and balance yourself. It's a nice dorsiflexion action. Now the foot, and this just allows you to work the toes, the base of the toes nicely. From here, if you'd like to, you can take your arms up, open your chest nicely. Release your hands back to the blocks, release your knee down, and come to the opposite leg. So step your right foot forward and drop yourself into the pose. Again, blocks aren't necessary, but if you've got them, it's nice to have. So just press your hands into the blocks. Now press your toenails so firmly that it engages the leg. Maybe you can lift the knee up, but for me, this knee has gone through a lot of trauma. This leg has been through trauma. So I'm just going to back off on this. I'm just going to press my toenails down very firmly as if I'm lifting my knee up and soften. I still get this nice plantar flexion going on in the foot, and press the toenails down. Maybe you can lift the kneecap up, maybe not. and release. One more time, pressing down through the toenails to get a nice engagement on the front side of the leg and down. Now tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee up. See if you can balance yourself here. As you draw from the pelvis to the heel, you're reaching the heel way back as you take your hands to the top of the knee. Balance yourself, take your arms up, spread your fingers, open your chest really nicely. Keep this nice fullness. And release your hands down, release your knee down, and come to tuck your toes under. As you tuck your toes under, press your hands nice and wide apart. Draw your weight back toward your heels. As you take more weight toward your heels, you can take your hands a little bit closer to your knees. Now, at some point, this may become just way too much for you. So, you be the judge here. As you're walking your hands a little bit closer to your knees, you're taking a lot more weight there in this dorsiflexion action of your feet. So, as you're taking more weight to your heels, hug your heels in toward each other. The heels want to go a little bit wider apart. Maybe you can take your hands off the mat to come to this full pose. Again, heels want to go wide, so you're pulling the inner heels in toward each other, almost like you're trying to get the sit bones to place themselves very firmly on the heels. And slowly come out of the pose. Sometimes that's a little bit tough on the feet, so you can just kind of clap the tops of the toes to bring a little bit more blood circulation to the tops of the feet. Let's come to a standing pose again. You can come through downward facing dog if you wish to come to stand. And as you come to standing pose, you might want to come near a wall or maybe a chair by you, because we'll do that same action we did when we were seated. We grabbed our big toe and just had that action just energize the toe a lot. Just notice in Tadasana, like how energized the toes feel. I ask you to be near a wall because we'll be standing on one leg, and we're not working in this practice necessarily on balance. Certainly, by working on the feet, you get much more balance. But for this practice, we're actually working on getting a little bit more action and flexibility out of the big toe. So stand so that you can just hold on to the wall or a chair or something. As you draw your right knee up, see if you can hold on to the big toe in the same way that we were doing when we were seated. So you really have to lift up the knee a lot to thread your fingers right between your big toe and your second toe and just reach your foot forward. So we are not doing any hamstring work in this practice necessarily. So we're just holding on to the big toe to see if we can get the big toe to be really active. As you pull with your fingers on the toe, your toe is reaching out. And if you can, take your hand away from the wall or the chair, by all means, do that. Release your foot down and slowly come back to Tadasana with both feet parallel. When the feet are parallel, the lineup of the second toe to the middle of the ankle, if you make a line from the second toe to the middle of the ankle, that line should be parallel. So, in other words, for most of us, the big toes are kind of drawing in slightly. for many of us, not all of us. Let's come to the opposite side. As you draw down through the right leg, you'll lift up your left foot and see if you can find your left big toe. Thread your fingers in through the big toe as you just kind of work to hold on to the big toe. And again, sometimes the arm is stronger than the toe, and that's why this pose is so great for you. So you really have to work the big toe in this pose. You're pushing the big toe into the fingers. And again, you can come toward a straight leg, but for this practice, we're mostly just working on the engagement of the toes. And if you want to come toward a full balance pose, by all means. But again, that's really not the point of the big toe practice here. All right, and release your foot down. And let's come to a wide stance on your mat. In this wide stance, just going to notice how your feet feel. Hopefully, through this work, you feel a little bit more engaged in your feet. Turn your right toes out and look at the lineup of the right heel compared to the back arch before bending your knee. We'll come to the form of Virabhadrasana 2, but lift and spread your toes on your right foot first. Now keep the spread of the toes and take them down and press in through the base of the right big toe. Lift your arms up. Just get this nice fullness in the upper chest. And notice how, as you keep the engagement of your feet so firm, you can just drop in a little bit deeper in your pose. Now, feel the freedom of the upper body as you take your back hand back toward your back leg, your front hand up and over your head. And slowly now come out of your pose, straighten your front leg, turn your right toes in, turn your left toes out, bend your knee, lift up all the toes of your left foot, spread your toes. Now take your toes down and press especially through the base of the big toe in this fullness of your warrior pose, warrior two pose. Reach back. Lift your front arm up, expand through the side body. Enjoy this fullness of your breath. Release now out of the pose. Straighten your legs and release your hands. Now step your feet hip distance apart and look at that lineup that we were talking about. From the second toe to the middle of the arch of the foot, those lines should be parallel. And again, big toes, for many of us, big toes may be drawing inward slightly. You stand in Tadasana. Let's come to a seated position now. And in the seated position, in the same way that we started, you can bend your right knee, grab hold of the big toe, work the big toe. Now that we've done lots of actions here. In the seated position, we'll just do a little massage on the arch of the foot. So lift up your foot and see about just placing the foot in such a way that you can massage with your thumbs together. You can kind of bifurcate, you can kind of split the arch, right? With the fingers right in the base of the foot, you're just drawing the thumbs away from each other. With the thumbs right in the middle of the foot, you're pulling the thumbs away from each other. So just work down toward your heel as you push into the foot, pull away from each other, push into the arch, pull away, just a little massage here, push into the arch and pull away. And now with your thumbs together, just do circular motions to kind of release that muscle and do those circular motions down the foot, just so that it just gives you a lot of freedom here in your foot. You can work the foot nicely. Take your left hand and thread your fingers through the toes and see if you can spread your fingers as you take the webbing of your fingers right against the webbing of your toes and spread your fingers. And now close them up. Two more times. Spread your fingers to spread your toes and close them up. One more time. Spread your fingers. Really work the big toe away from the baby toes, especially, and release. Now let's come to the opposite side. So, in the same way that we were doing, take your left foot so that you can work the thumbs right into the base of the toes here and spread your thumbs away from each other. Just a strong action. You draw in and go wide. Not all of us can afford foot massage, so we do it ourselves. We just draw the fingers away from each other, the thumbs away from each other as you work toward the heels. And take your thumbs right at the base of the toes to do this circular action. Get in there deep if you can. Nice circular action as you work your way, as the thumbs work their way toward the heels. And release out of the pose. Now that your feet are so engaged and you can really spread your toes a lot, let's lie on our back with our knees bent. So as you come to lie on your back with your knees bent, do that same action we've been doing. Draw the right knee in, grab hold of the right big toe, and draw the knee down toward the earth so that you get this nice stretch here in the back side of the leg. Now reach your right leg up, and in the same way that we've been doing, you're pulling on the big toe, even as the big toe is resisting and reaching up to the sky. Do that again. Just bend your knee and draw the knee down. You're kind of letting the power of your hand win, even as the toe is resisting. But as you straighten the leg or come toward a straight leg, you just keep working the big toe. Just allow the spread of the baby toes to really help out the action of the foot. And again, you're bending the knee and reaching your foot straight up to the sky. And one more time, you bend the knee, you reach it up toward the sky, and release. Release your foot down. In the same way that we just did with the right foot, bring your left knee close to you so that you can find the big toe. Working this big toe, press the big toe up to the sky as you pull the knee down to start. And reach up and pull down. You have to go really slow in these actions to get the full effect here of this power in the big toe, to really help you open up. You can probably feel the inner thigh muscles just really work on this and reach the foot straight and bend your knee. Really strong but slow actions and reach it up and release as you're ready. You might want to pause here and stretch your legs out to come to Shavasana, or start your practice where you can get such a nice solid foundation now that we've worked on your feet so much, and your big toe is going to be the root of your poses, the foundation of your very being. Thank you so much for joining the practice. Namaste.